a new verse today. Okay, read that verse, inshallah. You put loud. Okay, translate it. Okay. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. ادعوا ربكم تضرعا وخفيا إنه لا يحب المعتدين. Supplicate to your Lord humbly and secretly. Surely he does not like those who cross the limits. So we discussed the group that's going to Jannat. We discussed the group that's going to Jahannam. We discussed those people that will be stuck in the middle. Then after that, we discussed, Allah Ta'ala invites us to look at the greatness of His creation. That inna rabbakum Allahu alladhi so that khalaqa as-samawati wal arda fi sittati ayyam. And the idea was that we must appreciate the greatness of Allah Ta'ala. We must appreciate the grandeur. We must appreciate the splendor of Allah Ta'ala. So the next verse now, after having understood who Allah Ta'ala is, after having understood that Allah Ta'ala is Qadir Mutlaq, He is the person who has absolute power, He is the person who creates everything. Now we need to turn towards Him. So the next verse exhorts us now, turn towards Him. Ud'u rabbakum, call out to your Rabb. Tadarru'a, humbly, right? Wa khufya, secretly. إِنَّهُ لَا يُحِبُّ الْمُعْتَدِينَ. Allah Ta'ala do not love those who transgress the limits. So from this verse here, you can already understand, without us even looking at the explanation, we understand that ibadat that is done quietly, secretly, with humility, not shown off, not now you see people, they go for Umrah, now they got a picture on Instagram, they're standing in front of the Kaaba, but they're reading two rakats in front of the Maqam Ibrahim. Now they got a picture there, the whole world must see. Now they're going for Umrah, they're tying the ihram. Now they must post it Facebook, millions of people must see. No, no, no. Ud'u rabbakum, call out, pray to your Rabb. Tadarru'a, what? With humility, khufya, secretly. So supplicate to your Lord humbly and secretly. Surely He does not like those who cross the limits. So mentioned, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, mentioned in the previous verses were particular manifestations of the power of Allah Ta'ala, right? And His major blessings. So Allah Ta'ala showed you His power. He's the one who controls the earth. And we don't see the, a mix up in this dunya. Things go mix up, things go topsy-turvy in your factory, in your shop, things go upside down. But if you look at the perfect harmony, the perfect administration, so as I told you, that indicates the greatness of Allah Ta'ala, right? The perfect power of Allah Ta'ala and His major blessings. The present verse leads us to consider when He is the master of perfect power, the sender of all blessings, and the Lord of all the world, it naturally follows that He should be the one to be called upon and prayed to under all circumstances. So when Allah Ta'ala is a maker, Allah Ta'ala is a breaker, Allah Ta'ala is a creator, so shouldn't our energies, our loyalty, and our obedience be for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? Right? The attitude of bypassing Him and turning towards some other direction is ignorance and failure. So when Allah Ta'ala is the center of power, the power of the universe, so why turn your attention to secondary issues, right? Along with it, identified in these verses are some rules of etiquette to be followed when making dua prayer. So turn to Him, and He has some etiquette. If due consideration is given to these rules, the hope that the prayer will be answered increases. So when you fulfill the etiquette of praying to Allah Ta'ala, calling to Allah Ta'ala, then inshallah the chances of your prayer, the chances of your ibadat are greater that they be accepted. So the meaning, etiquette of dua and zikr. So Allah Ta'ala speaks about Ud'u rabbakum tadarru'a. Ud'u call out to your Rabb, make dua. The word dua in the Arabic language means to call upon someone to remove one's needs. When you call, in other words, when you call somebody to render some type of assistance to you, that is dua, right? It is also used to remember in the. It is also used to remember in the absolute sense. Also, dua can also mean to remember somebody. Both meanings can be taken here. So we can say here, call out to your Rabb for your needs, or remember your Rabb could be mean both. So اذكر ربكم تضرعا وخفيا. Understood? So the verse could mean ask from Allah Ta'ala in the following manner, or remember Allah Ta'ala in the following manner. So both meanings could be taken here. The verse says, supplicate, remember, call out to your Rabb, call your Rabb for your needs, or remember your Rabb and worship Him. In the first case, it means when you say, Ud'u Rabbakum, ask from Allah Ta'ala alone. Don't ask from anybody else. It means ask Allah alone for what you need. In the second case, the sense would be remember Allah Ta'ala alone. Like both these affiliations have been reported from the seal authorities among the righteous elders. So both means udhkur or ud'u rabbakum, both are correct. Tadarra wa khufya, humbly and secretly. Tadarra means humbly. The word tadarru means realization or inability. Tadarru means when you consider yourself unable. Humble, what is humility? When you do not go about blowing your own trumpet, you know, that I did, I this, I done this, I said this, I gave this lecture, I read like this, I studied this, I done that. No, so the word tadaru means realization of inability when you consider yourself unable. Allah Ta'ala does. Allah Ta'ala took it from me. Allah Ta'ala made it do it. Allah Ta'ala made me the means. This happened. We done this, we done that. But it was through the grace and the fadl of Allah Ta'ala. He used us to do this. We are only an instrument in His hands. He's Musabbibul Asbab. He used me as an instrument. Yes, that work was accomplished. We did bring about peace, or we did study the kitab, but we are the means in the hands of Allah, right? So the word tabaru means realization of inability, humility, and submission in a refined spirit of self-abasement, not found in the English language and its modern circular cultural context. So this here, what he's saying, the tadarru, which means that self-abasement in a refined spirit, without making yourself, abasing, looking down upon yourself, or without making yourself bad, but you consider that everything happens at the hands of Allah Ta'ala. There's no real word like this in the English language to express this words. That means inability without self-abasement. What's called inability, that you consider Allah Ta'ala is the one who do, not me, right? And the word khufya means secret, secluded or private, as opposed to open and public, as used in English too, but no relevance to the dominant sense of secret in English bearing on the mysterious, the occult, and the whole field of espionage. Yeah. So you're saying it doesn't mean like, you get the secret cult. They are embarrassed about their worship, etc., etc. So they don't do it in public like Satanists and that type of thing. No, doesn't mean that. Yeah, secret is referred to sincerity. You want to keep it sincere. It's not because you want to hide it, right? In the frame of these two words described, there are two important rules of etiquette which govern dua dhikr. So this tadarru' and khufya, we learn two important etiquettes. First of all, in order for a dua to be accepted, first of all, in order for it is necessary that one appears before Allah Ta'ala is weak. So first thing, when you want to ask from Allah Ta'ala, you must show weakness. Like even in this world, if you want to ask somebody from something, imagine you go to the teacher and say, Ustad, I want to be absent tomorrow. But if you don't give me permission, no problem. I don't worry. I don't care. You can give me permission to stay absent. If you don't give me permission, I don't care. I don't worry, man. Doesn't matter, whatever. So there, you're not showing weakness. But Ustad, look here, I really need to be absent tomorrow. I need permission. I need to go to this place here. And if I'm not permitted to do it, then I will experience this difficulty and experience that difficulty. So I'm really in need of your permission, Ustad. So you show humility. So same thing, Ya Allah, I want this here, but you can give it to me if you want to. If you don't want to give it to me, no problem. I don't worry also. Will Allah Ta'ala give you in this dunya, the person won't give you. So same thing here. So you must show humility, you must show weakness. You say, look, if you don't help me, I got no one else to help me. Who gonna help me with this thing here? I really need your help. If you don't help me, I'm gonna be totally lost. I will be abandoned. So same thing. That you say, Allah, if you do not assist us, there's no other Rabb. There's no other creator. There's no other person to assist us. So first of all, in order that a dua be answered, it is necessary that one appears before Allah Ta'ala as weak. helpless, and simply unable to hold on his own, modest and humble, right? On his own, modest and humble, and submits to him with a total negation of what is supposed to be pride. So you requesting, in asking from Allah Ta'ala, you have to do away with your pride, your dignity, your honor, your ego, your self view. And this is how you make dua. Dua is a thing of the soul, which requires that its words match the feebleness and humbleness of the maker of dua. There's the manner of saying it remains a mirror of modesty. What he's saying is dua is actually something which comes from your heart. No, dua is not a lip service. That's why it comes in the hadith. Inna Allah la yaqbalu an qalbin lahin. Allah Ta'ala does not accept from a negligent heart. Like you saying, Ya Rabbana atina fi dunya. You just, lip service. You're just saying the words with your lip. But it's not really coming from your heart. It's not really coming from your heart. So we're saying that the dua is something which is supposed to come from your heart, and things that come from your heart that will have modesty and humility, as we're saying. And that this overall humility should ooze forth from the very physical approach to this making of dua. Given this anatomy and profile of dua, the common practice of making dua these days cannot really be called making of dua. So the author is saying that, making a long, fancy dua, singing and everybody saying, I mean, that's also right. I mean, it's not in keeping with the spirit here of that humility. You'd rather be the reading of, you can say, you can say, the person is reading a dua, because the dua is a beseechment from the depths of your heart. What happens most of the time, we don't know what we are saying, and it's become a routine, as we know in common masajid. Imams would usually say, read some words of the dua in the Arabic language, which they have memorized, and do this at the end of salah. So from this, you learn also that you making dua, you should learn the meanings of the dua. Hey, I forgot you must have write the dua in the meanings. Remember yesterday's dua? You remind him. Somebody actually messaged me. They're waiting for the dua. Somebody is waiting. So the dua we discussed yesterday, write it and give the translation. I can check the translation for you, right? So we see, yes, we're not saying that you shouldn't be making the Arabic du'as, or you shouldn't. That is place is you can make that. And in fact, even better if you learn the meaning. So when you make the meaning, it comes from your heart. It comes right. Most of the time in some areas, the imam themselves do not know the meaning and the sense of what they say. And even if they do know it, at least less knowing participants of the congregation are virtue of honor what is being said. So sometimes the imam himself don't know the meaning. The congregation are saying Amin, Amin. They don't know. So what that lacks sincerity, it lacks humility. They would almost mechanically go saying Amin, Amin after the words read by the imam without having any clue as to what is being said there. So just remember, I'm not saying here now you mustn't make like how we have, maybe you have an ijtima or you have jalsa or you make dua at the khatam, whatever. That's good, mashallah, but we're just showing you it's good, it's better than nothing. But the real dua is that one that the person makes from his heart. And obviously, if you learn the basic du'as and you learn the meaning, so when the imam is making dua, you can say Ameen from your heart also, right? So obviously making a congregational dua and saying Amin is better than doing nothing. It's better than doing nothing. So we won't tell you don't make this dua after the jalsa or after the khatam or after the ijtima or after anything. We'll say don't make the dua. That's better than nothing. But we just show you what is the real dua. So don't misunderstand me. We're not saying don't make that dua like how you make. It's good. It's very good, mashallah. It's better than doing nothing. But even better than that is what? The real dua that comes from the heart, where you understand what you're saying, right? Not just saying Amin, Amin, right? Then this is entirely different matter that Allah Ta'ala in His infinite mercy accept these very lifeless words and given them the effect of yes. Even that we saying, even when a person say Amin, he don't know what we Allah Ta'ala can accept. We're not saying that's why I'm telling you, we're not saying don't do it. We say if you're doing it, do it, no problem. Allah Ta'ala can accept. But the real one is right. But it's necessary everyone understands dua is not read. It's not just a verbal reading. It's asking. Therefore, it's crucial that one asks as one should, properly as due. Then there's another aspect of dua. If a person does know the meanings of the words of the dua and even understands what he's saying, still if it is not accompanied by the proper approach, manner, and physical bearing, the dua stands reduced to a bland claim to which is no and which no great servant is entitled. So the first thing we said is tadarru'. So given the first word was the spirit of dua, which requires that one shows humility and praise for Allah for that which he needs. Then the second word, the instruction given is that the asking for dua, asking in dua, for one needs to be do so secretly. So the next good etiquette of getting your dua accepted is to know secretly. "Ud'u rabbakum tadarru'an wa khufya," and in a lowered voice, which is superior in merit and more likely to be answered, right? So from this, you understand. Again, I repeat, I'm not saying that making a dua in congregation, like how you said, Rabbana, that's accepted. I mean, that's good, inshallah, Allah Ta'ala can accept it. But better than that, more likely accepted, is you sitting in a corner alone and making dua from your heart, right? The reason making dua is a raised voice is not free of three possible drawbacks. First, it's difficult to maintain modesty and humility in doing so. Secondly, there is the danger of hypocrisy and desire for recognition creeping through the mouth. Thirdly, the manner in which the dua is made is only goes to show that the person making it almost does not know that Allah is hearing. So they say, yeah, you're loud. Maybe you can be showing off somebody who's saying loud. Are you giving the impression that Allah, can't hear what you're saying? Yes, sometimes you make loud dua so that the people can learn from you. Ta'aleem, and that's a different thing. You always think about the actual dua, what is better, right? If you're alone, yes, like maybe in the madrasa, we make loud dua so that people can learn, right? So, uh, okay, I think it's say we'll stop, inshallah. We'll continue tomorrow. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi.